4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
This is your official invitation to the 2026 Married into Crazy Winter Ball and Marriage Conference.
February 6th and 7th, 2026 is a 2-day event. It's going to be a lot of fun. The theme for Friday night is denim, diamonds, and dancing. We have a great lineup for you, DJ Anointed, and also one of the original Chicago Steppers, Creed, is going to be there to teach the soul line dancing. It's
going to be a lot of fun, everybody. So we're going to feed you, we're going to dance, and set the night off leading into Saturday, which is going to be a great day of speakers. Mm-hmm. We have 10 times Grammy Award winning artist Joel Kibble as a special guest, and we've got some amazing speakers lined up along with him. Not only are we speaking, but we've got, I'm not even going to tell you. Go to the website, check it out. Go to marriedintocrazy.com, and you'll be able to click on Winter Ball and see all of the activities that are going to be taking place.
You don't want to miss this, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Get your tickets now. Early bird pricing goes all the way up through the middle of November. After that, all bets are off. You never know what we're going to do, but right now is your chance to get the early bird tickets. We want you to get the discount, but more than anything else, we want you there.
Be there.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
I'm Lovey. And once again, you're back with us, and we appreciate you spending time. You could be doing anything in the world right now, gardening, walking, what have you, but you've chosen to spend a little time with us. And for those of you that aren't aware, we are a couple that has been married for 28 plus years.
Almost 29. Get it together, bruh.
The plus matters. I'll say that all the time. The plus matters.
It does.
Yeah, because like she's extra half the time, right? That's what the plus stands for. My wife being extra. But we
I don't see you complaining though, so I'm just wondering why. Anyway,
not to her. My therapist hears it all.
Oh, okay, got you. I'll be calling
But here's
Kevin.
the thing, so just for those of you that are new to the podcast, we were engaged after we met on a blind date.
Okay, it wasn't a date. Likes to call it that. It was a blind fix up. I didn't know whatever. So that's important. That's very key because I did not agree to go out with him. Just saying.
It was not an arranged marriage, just so you know.
No,
but
it was arranged.
We did. We were forced to meet each other.
Yep.
And then she thought I was a nerd. Told everybody that I was not her type.
I didn't tell everybody. I just told my family.
4 months later, we were engaged.
4 months later, we were engaged.
And her ex-boyfriend proceeded to stab me through my heart.
5 days after our engagement.
Yeah, because he was trying to get her back. I don't know how that was supposed to work out, but didn't really go in his favor or mine, quite honestly.
Well, I mean, you got me. So, went in your favor?
Yeah, she watches too many Disney movies. But here's the thing.
Wow.
We figured it out. We worked that out. We got to the point where we could say I do. And even after we said I do, 4 years later.
On our anniversary at Morton's, between the cream spinach and mashed potatoes, he likes to add that part in, so I always say it. I told him I wanted a divorce. He was mid-fork eating, whatever. And but yeah, it was on our anniversary. I said I want a divorce. At year 4, that was the incident.
That was traumatic. I haven't been to Morton since.
We've been to Morton's 3 times.
Since then?
Yes. What are you talking about?
See, I blocked it all out. I blocked it. I don't remember those. But the thing is,
we
had
didn't
some
get
challenges.
divorced.
We did not get divorced.
Yes.
We had some challenges. And
through
that process of growing, we bought books. We watched videos. We went through coaching. We went through counseling.
We became the couple that we were looking for, what we needed. So we worked it out.
Through a group of certifications, and we do a lot of different things. Gottman Institute, we're level 1, level 2, Gottman Couples Therapy. We do things through Dr. Eric Thomas, Extreme Execution. I've got 3 different DISC certifications when it comes to actually helping people understand their personalities and so forth. But we bring all that together, and I tell you all of that simply because
And we load that on top of our pillars because, we're married into crazy, but crazy is an acronym and it stands for
being compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding.
good
And
job.
through that, we have the podcast, we do coaching, but one of the things that we truly love is bringing you other couples or other subject matter experts that can actually pour into your marriage. We endeavor to make sure that we find the brightest, the funniest, the most interesting individuals around the world, quite honestly, that can actually help you get through whatever it is you may be going through. Because we know that every single marriage is like having a unique DNA. She's got her hands up, and I'm the teacher that's going to ignore her.
Like at church, you have to tip out. Before we go too far, there's something I need to say. I want to say happy birthday, give a shout out to Courtney. When you hear this, it will actually be on her birthday. So happy birthday, Court. We love you. Thanks for always supporting us. And I wasn't going to let the day pass without me saying happy birthday to you. And now everybody in the world knows today's your birthday. So y'all, happy birthday. Okay, go ahead.
If you want your birthday shouted as well, apparently we're giving them out. So feel free to write us in.
Okay, Courtney, you heard that, right? Okay, just saying. I'm trying to make it special.
Coaching at marriedintocrazy.com. But do us a favor, just go over to marriedintocrazy.com and look at all the different ways that we pour into the covenant of marriage. And what you'll notice, you heard it in the preamble, but I'm just going to plug it again. Coming up soon, February 26th. I'm sorry.
2026.
February 2026. February 6th and 7th. Is the Married Into Crazy Winter Ball and Marriage Conference. It's going to be happening in Sacramento at the Light Christian Church, and we've got a dynamic lineup of speakers. It's being headlined by none other than Joel Kibble, 10-time Grammy Award-winning artist with the group Take Six. Many people don't know this outside of the particular realm, but Joey is also a celebrated divorce recovery coach. It's not always about the divorce, but it's also about helping people move beyond previous relationships and ensuring that they don't carry baggage into the next relationship. He's going to be one of our keynote speakers. So we're excited to have him on board as well as all the talented individuals. But with that being said, today is an exciting day because we have a great couple that we're going to be sharing with you this evening. We're going to get into it in just a moment, but I want to welcome John and Jaqueline Brown.
Woo!
I know I need to get some sound effects, huh?
Come on, babe.
Let's go.
You're
I know.
making us look good. There we go. Get together, bro.
Hey, welcome to the show. I know I should have gave a better intro, but I did do some digging, and I want to kind of read what I found about John and Jaqueline Brown.
If it's okay, they might not want all their business out there.
I'm gonna put their business out there.
Okay.
And so here it is. John Brown is known for his role as a strategic leader and visionary, particularly through his involvement with Brown Developments. He is known for his ability to plan and assemble teams, focusing on large-scale development through public profiles, highlight his strengths in technology, software development, and organizational leadership. His beautiful bride, Jaqueline Brown, this thing participates with me, is an acclaimed executive coach, leadership strategist, and the driving force behind several different initiatives for both personal and professional leadership movements. Jaqueline is also well known and recognized for creating frameworks such as DIVE for inclusion, emphasizing equity-driven and inclusive workplace cultures. Her latest book, which we're going to get into a little bit later, is Be the CEO of You, where she promotes self-leadership and personal growth, inspiring professionals to lead with purpose and authenticity. Ladies and gentlemen, this is who we're talking to. And above and beyond all of that, they are a very happily married couple, and we want to get all their secrets. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
We're proud to be here. We have some pluses behind our years as well.
Thank you. We're so delighted to join you in this conversation.
Definitely. So this is just going to be like being at a barbecue and just chopping it up. And
You always say barbecue. Go ahead.
I do. I like a good barbecue.
I mean, we licking our fingers and.
So what we want to do. So you said you got some pluses behind you too. So how long have you two been married?
We've been married for 28 plus years.
Okay.
I love it.
Sounds like we're around the same time frame.
About the same time. Yeah, we've been together
Yeah.
for 30 plus years.
Okay.
What's your anniversary?
Can I ask a question? When did y'all get married?
We got married June 27th,
28.
28th. See, the women don't always get it right. June 28th, 95.
Okay.
97.
90, 97. That's right. We met in 95. We got married in
Okay.
97.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. We look at each other. Yeah. We met in 95, December of 95, December 16th, and we got married January 4th of 97. So, okay, same
Okay.
trajectory. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely.
So we celebrate our anniversaries in the same year.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. So now I'll never forget.
Yeah.
There you go.
Better
That's
not.
exciting.
95, 97.
95, 97. Okay. Go
Right?
us. Go us.
I've always got some quick little acronym or something like that made up for you.
See, Johnny on the spot. Literally Johnny on the spot.
Literally.
Hey, we love this. So let's get into this. How did you two meet each other? You got to be quick with it.
I mean,
You want me to
how
tell
did
you?
y'all,
Yeah.
how
I'll
did y'all
let you go
meet?
ahead and start, and then
You'll fill
I'll
the
jump
gap?
in. Yes,
Okay.
I'll jump in.
So my first full-time job, I was a UPS driver. And it was right around the time where UPS men were deemed the sexiest men alive in People magazine. And so I would show up on a route. I didn't have a steady route. I was considered a floater. And Jacqueline happened to be working in Pleasanton in an office building. And we were both separated and going through divorces at that time. And we had seen each other a year before, but, just kind of like said hello. And then the timing was right. I had decided that I was going to start dating again because I had been separated for 14 months. And I was like, you know what, moving on now. And then one day I run into her in the mailroom. And then so I ran into her one day, and then I ran into her the second day, and I was doing my pickups. And I thought to myself, okay, well, I need to say something to this woman here and make a move. So I asked her if she'd like to go to lunch sometime. So she proceeded we chatted for a moment, and she followed me out to where the elevator was. And I pulled out my Post-it note and I wrote my number on there. And I said, here's my number. And then we decided how we were going to call each other. And what do you say after that?
Yeah. So just to add a little more color to the story.
Come
So
on,
yes,
please. Thank you. Yeah, come on.
the
Tell the truth.
UPS driver, and so I was in the office building. The copy room was the same room as you drop off the mail and packages. And
Right.
so we often tell people that we met in the mail room because that's actually where I was making photocopies and he was dropping off the packages. But my other colleagues in the office would see him as well, and they go, "Oh, did you see the good looking? Did you see the good looking UPS man that came in?" And so when we started chatting, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've seen him." And one of my colleagues like, "You should talk to him. He is really cute." And he was the UPS driver that was polished up. I mean, he had the haircut was right, faded. His uniform was pressed, and he was wearing shorts that day because it was warm. Uniform was pressed and creased. Legs were shining. Boots were polished up, and I mean, he had it going on. And you see some UPS drivers, and they look like they just got out of bed and shook off and came to work, but
Mm-hmm.
this brother was all polished up. And so I took a look at him and I'm going, he is kind of cute, got nice legs, and he presents himself really well. He's all kept up. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll go out and see what it's like. I mean, I got a space on my baseball team.
Add me
So
to the baseball
I,
team.
I got a little slot open on my baseball team. So he might just fit in there, right nicely. So when he asked me out, to lunch with the little post-it notes. You remember the little notepads where you go,
Mm-hmm.
this person called you, call back this person, and you put the telephone number on. It was one of those kinds of things. He
Yes.
had it in his pocket. So we made contact that way. I was on my way out to lunch, and he was standing at the elevator, and so he asked me out to lunch, and I thought, yeah, he's kind of cute. Let's go out to lunch, see what happens from there.
And the baseball team is a whole nother story. And that was one of the days I had hair. And then so what I had was, and UPS was still a private company then, so you couldn't have a mustache that was past your sides of your lip right there. It was very, very military like. So you just had a mustache, and the rest of you had to be clean shaven. So I had little S curl fade on the top, and sides was or little on the top, and then a little fade on the sides. And I thought I was doing my thing.
Let me just say this, from when you said that you were a UPS driver, the first thing I promise you that clicked in my mind was exactly how Jacqueline described you, because I was like, oh, because the times that I've seen you out, y'all don't know Mr. John Brown, but he don't play. He be crisp clean. Okay, he comes just like that. So I was like, he
Thank
was
you.
probably the cleanest UPS driver out there too, and Jacqueline confirmed it. So proceed.
But what's
Yeah.
really funny is that there's so many parallels because not just our marriages, like when we met,
'Cause you were
and then, but I was working for UPS at that exact same time in
Oh,
Sacramento.
really? Oh, wow.
I wasn't a driver, I
He
wasn't that
wasn't a
polished.
driver though, so
I
yeah.
worked the preload and then I worked the sorting line in West Sacramento, but at the exact same time.
Oh
There
my
you
gosh,
go. The
interesting.
connections.
Yes, how about that?
That's so
That's
funny.
amazing.
Well, this is great. So you guys met each other. So how long did it take from the time that she decided to add you to her baseball team to
Okay, that sounds a little bit. I don't like how you said that.
well,
Add you to her baseball team like
She
the
brought
number
it
or
up.
something.
We'll,
Okay.
we'll tell you the story about it. So we met. Jacqueline's birthday is at the end of March. We met the beginning of March, March 5th, and Jacqueline was having this month-long birthday celebration.
As she
So
should.
she had
Yes.
these friends.
Right.
She had these friends who were taking her out on different dates, whatever they were, lunch, movies, dinners, all this stuff. In the middle of me dating her, so we met. We went to lunch within the first week, and then we went to dinner within the second week. Then we started hanging out a little bit more after week 3. By week close to her birthday, I was like, you know what? Enough with all these dates. Who needs to go out? Who needs to go out for all these dates? And so she had her concept of a baseball team, which I'll let her expand upon and add some color to it.
The baseball thing. Well, so I had been in a long-term relationship. I was now single. I was also um, going to school to get my undergraduate degree. So I was working full time, going to school part time, and so I really didn't make time for a serious relationship. But I was like, I want to have fun,
Hmm.
and so I started to meet different guys, and I thought, oh, I like this guy because he's interested in this, and I've never done that before. So I'll go out on a date with him for that reason. And
Hmm.
then this other guy was this reason, and so that's how the baseball theme sort of worked out. There was these
Got it.
different guys, and I would date them for different reasons. It was very much a uh, progressive thing, especially for a woman to be doing this. And I would frustrate them because they would ask me if I wanted to go out on a date, and I would say, "Well, let me look at my planner and see what day I'm available."
Right. Right.
So they would be like, "Excuse me? Well, yeah, I have to fit you in. I have a busy life.
Right.
I have things going on." So that's the concept of the baseball team. And so what happens is when you find the players on the baseball team, that works until you find the pitcher. And once you find the pitcher, you bench everybody else.
Hey,
And
I
so
Oh.
came
when
here
I
throwing
found,
strikes.
when I found my pitcher, everybody else was benched.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Okay, John.
First off,
Being a
Jacqueline, I
pitcher.
love the concept. That is really good. And congratulations on drafting, the most amazing pitcher.
Right. Right.
Right?
Number one draft
I got
choice.
the number one
Number
draft
one
choice.
draft choice. I know that's right. And I think that's so key too, because I remember back in the 90s, good Lord, all the guys, remember at that time, it was supposed to be how the women outnumbered the men. And so all the
Mhm.
guys thought that the women were you should be chasing after me and stuff like that. So yeah, okay,
Mhm.
feel at
Yeah.
You got
ease.
some
That's how we
snaps,
do.
bro.
Right, right. Well, and when you're in a position, and I've shared this baseball theory with many of my single girlfriends, and I don't know how well it works today. It was in the '90s when I did it, but conceptually, it's all about what it is that you want, how
Hmm.
you want to enjoy your life, and who you want to spend your life with.
That's
And
right.
so it allows you to have that freedom. And when you meet the person that you are supposed to spend the rest of your life with, you will know that.
Hmm.
And all those other guys in your life will,
Fade
they'll be
away.
bent. But
Right.
it's really about women in particular stepping into the power of being women and the choices that they can make
That's right.
being a single woman out here.
That's
You don't
right.
have to subscribe to what society says you're supposed to, with how you're supposed to date and who you're supposed to date. You can do
Hmm.
that however you want to do it.
That's right.
So that was, and that was my thought. I really was busy and I was focused on other things in my life, and a relationship at that particular time was not one of them.
Hmm.
So that theory was really easy for me to navigate and manage because I had other priorities.
Right.
You know,
That's so
I
funny.
just got to share what I really truly love about that. And thank you for sharing that because as we've coached couples over the years, there's a particular theme that seems to occasionally rise to the surface, and that a lot of times women have struggled in their relationships because they've been forced into certain identities. Women have gone from being someone's daughter to someone's wife to someone's mother. Not necessarily in that order, but it's always somebody's something. And there's very little time for self discovery. And so as they're starting to elevate and grow, and sometimes they outpace their spouse, because the growth can be exponential, like bamboo. Like it took all these years for me to figure out who I am, and now, boom, I'm sprouting, I'm going, and that creates a little bit of discontent, right? And I love how you're talking about empowerment, and I think that needs to happen more often in relationships, where the earlier the better, so that way there's at least a better formed identity when both people try and enter something together.
Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm. Yes, absolutely. And when we get into the topic of be the CEO of you, it's about more empowerment and even more opportunity for you to step into your empowerment as a woman and as a leader.
Hmm.
So we'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, so that was our introduction to couplehood. And as John mentioned, we were both previously married before,
Hmm.
and so then we blended our families. So
Hmm.
I had one son, and John had two sons, and so we blended our family. And as as you would expect when you come into a relationship, when you've had previous relationship, you bring baggage into that relationship. And so there were a few things that we established right off the bat. One was that if we're going to do this because we're bringing our children into this relationship, that there's no back door. We're committed to making this work, and we're going to do whatever it takes to do that.
That's
And
right.
then the other thing is that neither of us wanted more children. We were
Right.
like,
Mm.
we're done.
Yeah, we're good.
Well, I will have to
Thanks.
jump in and say that the committing part and saying no back door, that took place about 6 months after we started dating. So Jacqueline and I, there's an age gap between us. It's a little over 6.5 years. Her being the senior, and so I was not only younger, but I also had extra debt that I was had accumulated from previous relationship. So I'm carrying that load with me. In addition to that, my mother had gone through divorce and she was living with me in a
Mm.
house I was leasing. And so I've got my youngest son, my oldest son living with me. My youngest son was living with my ex-wife. And so that's another deeper story in itself. And then Jacqueline is now coming, I meet her. She's got her son. She's established. She's a homeowner. She's about to walk across stage and getting her undergraduate degree. She's got a sports car that's, just shiny red, Z. And so she's living life at another level. And here she's got this young guy who's a UPS driver, got a side business, aspirational, big dreamer, but I'm carrying even more baggage than she is from a financial standpoint. And so she got into this relationship thinking like, I don't know if I want to go backwards.
Right.
And it took a moment where we got to a point where we were going through all these things. And then we were going to a movie and we detoured and we were over in Hayward. And we instead of going to the movie, went to park, to Washington Manor and Kennedy Park. And we're hanging out there and we're talking. And the conversations
Sitting in the car.
sitting in the car, and the conversations turns to, well, I think we should split up, is what she says to me. So now I got all this weight on my shoulders, and she doesn't know the financial burden I'm carrying. She doesn't know that I'm not only taking care of previous debt, but I'm also taking care of my mom completely at that time because she was in between jobs as well. So I've got all these things, and so we could only do a few things. And I literally, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. And I was like, just wilted, got emotional between us. And I said, you can't leave me. I said, you're the best thing I have going in my life right now. And we both broke down together and we agreed that we were going to draw a line and we were going to move forward. And that's when we came up with, there's no back door. And then from then forward, we were like, boom, let's go.
Let's go.
That is huge.
That is huge.
Okay, so from the male perspective, you said this is 6 months in to your dating, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
6 months in. And for you to be that vulnerable at that time, because a lot of guys, they put on a mask and they wear it for years.
Because they would have said a whole bunch of words to Miss Jacqueline. I'm just being real. About, oh, well, we all know what they would have said. Oh, you think you and da-da-da-da. I love that you, like Lovey said, I didn't mean to take over, but I love that you said that you were open and you were vulnerable. And actually also realizing that this is the woman. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that I know people have different reasons for being in long-term relationships and not getting married and because I got to wait and I got to see. But for myself, obviously with us, it was 4 months we got engaged. When you know, and for you to recognize and and maybe she knew too, but she was like, okay, I got to put some fire under this young man. Okay, Mr. UPS, I got to put some fire under him. But for you to know and recognize that, I can't let this one get away. So what do I need to do? What do we need to do? How do we move forward? That a blessing right there, because look at y'all now. Almost 30 years.
And I will say that when I met John, I was not ready for him. Again, I was in a place in my life where I had things that I was doing, and I was looking for someone that I could build things with. And it wasn't that I didn't see that in him. It was that he wasn't at the place that I would have wanted him to be when he came into my life at that particular time. But I also recognize that we have a plan, but God has a bigger plan.
That's right, girl.
So
Say that.
I may not have thought I was ready, but clearly he knew that this person was going to be
right.
Even if he didn't show up that way today, he was that person deep down inside. And I needed to stay there long enough to be able to discover that.
Right.
Exactly. And she came into my life. And so I used to have an office. So I'd go do my UPS thing. Then I go change afterwards. And I'm off doing business. And people I had met on different routes. And I'd ask questions like, okay, well, how do you live this way? And a few of these gentlemen took me under their wing and mentored me and helped guide me through being an entrepreneur. And so I was a huge dreamer, and I used to have a whole closet wall full of pictures of like what the family would be like and the travel and the cars and all these vacations and all the stuff that you'd have, all the material trappings as well. But the family pictures were really big too. And we literally accomplished all of those things within a matter of probably 5 years. We checked off all the cars and all that kind of stuff. But it was her seeing that I was going to execute as well. But in the initial stages, it was like, we're going to have this. And we always joke, and I always tell her, and I use this term, I said, we're about to blow up.
We're about to blow up. Every single year he would tell me that. We're about to blow up. I'm like, okay, well, we'll wait and see.
She's always, we'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see.
I used to like, you got to dream bigger. You got to see the future. It's going to be this way. You got to believe it and own it.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
A lot of parallels.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is. I'm glad we're having this discussion. But what I'm concerned about, we have people out there that are there are people out there that are listening, like, man, this sounds great, but yeah, my life's not that easy.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
think that people see you for who you are now.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate, you sharing, like, there were struggles. You talk about the debt, your mom, your children. People have to recognize. I mean, we didn't wake up this age. We had to go through some stuff to get
That's
to
right.
where we are. And that's what makes the blessing so much bigger
Mm-hmm.
Right.
because of the things that we went through. And we were able to, and maybe you didn't see the struggle, but we were able to stay graceful. We were able to stay grateful. We were able to stay, keep a smile on our face. We still struggled. We still had to do the things that we had to do, So
Yeah.
people need to hear that we didn't wake up like this. I ain't Beyonce. I didn't wake up like this. Okay.
No. And even Beyonce didn't wake up
Girl,
like
she
that.
sure didn't. Beyonce don't even look like Beyonce. You feel me?
Exactly.
She had a whole crew helping
She's
her
got
wake
a whole
up like
crew
that.
helping her
Whole
wake up
crew.
like that.
Amen.
Yes.
But let's
Yeah.
talk about that. So 6 months in, you made the commitment. Like you said, to using your verbiage, you drew that line, and you said, okay, we're going to be committed. You broke down. You were both vulnerable, but I'm sure it wasn't just all peaches and cream from there. Would you mind? I mean, sharing like some of the struggles that you had to go through and overcome together, and kind of figure it out. What was that like, going from previous relationships, committing to each other now, and recognizing that, okay, like John was like, okay, I got some work I need to put in to catch up to this lady. And then, but also you saying, okay, this guy right here may not be exactly what I had envisioned, but I know that this is the man that God has for me.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys balance that and move forward?
Yeah.
Well, we had a period where a year after we got married, within that time frame, within the first year we got married, UPS went on strike. So we had this whole section of, I think it was about 30 days when we were in strike mode. And then it was like, that was a hiccup right there. And then in '98, we had bought Jacqueline our first Mercedes in E-Class, and so she would drive that. And then on the weekend, I'm like, okay, let me drive the Mercedes. And so I was gone, and I was playing basketball one morning. I was on my way to go down and pick up my youngest son, and this drunk driver at 10 a.m. in the morning, she hits me in a Ford F-50,
Oh my
and
gosh.
she hits me in the back of the car at about 60 miles an hour. Just everything explodes in the car. The trunk is in the back seat, pushes me up probably like 60 yards, tore my rotator cuff. So now I'm out of work,
Oh my
and
gosh.
she's got no insurance or anything. She goes to jail, whatever. She's just drunk at 10 a.m. in the morning. And so I'm thinking to myself, I got to do something. So I now start moving into working with a couple of the businessmen on the routes, and I'm starting to do marketing and all these things. And I'm like, I'm not going back. And so 9 months into it, I'm like, I'm not going back. And she's like, what?
Excuse me.
You're gonna give us a $50,000 a year job?
You're not going
You're
back
not gonna go
with
back
insurance.
with insurance.
What do you mean you're not going back?
And so we got to a point. So I started getting these projects or whatever, and these things, but they weren't driving the revenue like we needed to. And so she gave me an ultimatum. She said, you need to be making at least $80,000 a year, because we were trying to, figure out, because we had to buy this house and all this other stuff. And I go, okay. And I was talking to one of my mentors. I said, I think if I don't make $80,000 a year, she might leave me. And so he's like, hey man, you know what? He said, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. But lo and behold, I found one of the guys on one of the routes I used to do, and they used to enjoy my mindset and everything. And that was my first job in a technology sales. And so I started selling wireless communications, and I exploded. And that's what got me into tech sales. And then within a year after that, in 99, we got into a position where we're able to buy our first house in 2000. That was the biggest thing we did together. And so, but the struggle to get to there, because there was financial struggles that led up to that, were significant, but we found a way to make it happen. And then us buying that house together was her just cement. Like, this dude delivers.
Yes, there was this, this period that the proof in the pudding was still happening, right? Yeah, I'm committed, but there's some things that have to happen here.
Right.
So that was all of that was going on. And I come from a finance and accounting background, and so I'm all about the numbers. Show me how this is going to play out. I understand the big dream, but I need to see how the numbers are going to play out. And so oftentimes, especially when you are someone that's a visionary, and then someone, and I'll use the word realism for just sake of differentiating, the two of them have to learn how to work together. Because if someone is a visionary and you're always talking realistic, you douse their dreams. And conversely, that person that's realistic, you have to be able to paint the picture about the vision for them, where they can absorb it or understand it and make it work for them. Right. And so that has been something that's been consistently, we've had to work on that throughout our marriage, is visionary versus realism, and how to meet each other in the middle.
Yeah, I'm a big dreamer and huge on vision, but I put that vision out there, and then I rely on universal power as well as me seeing it, and then me finding the ways to execute upon it. And then over the years, what we've had to come to the conclusion is that I can set my vision this big, but I need to, and I'll stick it. I'm not going to shrink the vision back. But what I'll do is I'll explain it to Jaqueline, that we can map out the steps so that she can see a smaller version of it. Right. And then I will go ahead and still stay with the big vision and the steps and the universal power that'll help bring it together.
Yeah. Right. So, and that's how we've worked. That is how we've worked through coming to a medium ground there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
Yeah.
This is really good. Like I'm doing my best not to nerd out on this right now.
Yeah, cause I mean, y'all can't see it, but he keeps moving it. You hear the little noises, like, oh, I just want to say something so bad. I'm like, calm down, babe.
No,
it's okay.
Okay, so I've got like 3 different DISC certifications. I thrive on when we're talking about DISC. I know there's a lot of different type of personality index forms, but what you talked about, you did something inherently that so many people struggle with, and that's learning how to speak, or at least how to endeavor to speak your spouse's language. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, Jaqueline, when you said that, he's a visionary and he has these big ideas, but you need to actually be the realist. In the vernacular of DISC, you're talking about somebody that's a high I that has this big, vision, and then you've got somebody that's, a high C that is, the analytical, the processes, so forth. And a lot of times those are 2 of the most diametrically opposed individuals when we're talking about working through things, whether it be corporate or, interrelational in a relationship. And I don't know that we have the time for you to talk about how did you guys do that, but was it automatic, or was it one of those things that you discovered through your trial and error and working it out?
Well, it wasn't automatic, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely was not automatic.
We're big communicators. We definitely talk a lot. Jacqueline actually took disc, and she's almost even across the board.
Mhm.
Really?
I take disc. I'm a high D, and I'm secondary I, and the rest of the S and the C are very equal. And so when we look at that, it's interesting. But she's a pleaser, but also she has a point where you're not going to push her to when then she's going to come out and just throwing blows. Small package, huge individual in mind and just power. But so you guys also some of the things that we wanted to share because, like you said, Rona earlier, nobody has it easy all the time. We can chart our lives and think about every 18 months, even though we have these roller coaster amazing things, about every 18 months something drastic happens, something just earth shattering. And so we had that period. So we bought that first house. And then I had written a couple of simple books on investing in real estate. Before you know it, we have a TV show around investing in real estate. I'm on a radio show. We're doing all this stuff. We're investing in real estate in 5 different states, and we own property here. And then we end up from 2000 through 2007, we had amassed some major properties, and we built this house. So we had built a 15-year dream. We built a 7,000 square foot house in Tracy in a gated community, the only gated community there at the time. Put an elevator in it. The thing had every luxury thing you can think about.
Wow.
And we were living large. We thought within a 2-year period we were going to retire back then. I was 40 years old at that time. I celebrated my 40th birthday in that house. And we were so excited about where we were going. And Jacqueline got her broker's license, and we were doing all this stuff. And then 2008 hits.
Say less.
But even before that, we were having 2007, things started really changing, and we were having some serious financial challenges. And we were like trying to find where to get money to do this and do all these different things. And we were looking at each other, but at the end of the day, we were always like, we're going to be together. And we had people who, their relationships were falling apart. So come 2009, we had done everything that we could, but we had gone bankrupt, and we had to lick our wounds, and we said we are going to take our knowledge. And it was March, the end of March, right, the weekend of her birthday, and we ended up moving out of our big house, which we built for 1.4 million at the time, and it short sold for 975. It was ridiculous, and here in California, right, and so we ended up leasing a nice home over in Dublin, because we were like, we're not going to go down to the bottom. Like we have a certain caliber and a certain status, and all this stuff. And so we had that experience. And I told her, I said, look, we have too much knowledge, too much experience. I said, in 3 years, we're going to be back. And lo and behold, 3 years to the day, we literally had rebuilt ourselves, and we had bought another home in Brentwood, in a nice former model home, because the builder went bankrupt, and there's just these 5 homes. We bought one of the models. That story in itself was just amazing. But that was part of what made the one major comeback right there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then, part of that was John we were trying to do this business thing, and he was up in the middle of the night trying to work deals and make things happen, and things just were not happening. It was just, it was just disastrous.
It's just highly stressful.
Yeah, it was very stressful. But I also want to share other challenges that we had outside of the financial, when you are a couple that have been previously married and you have previous relationships. And so we had very challenging times with the other parents of our kids. In particular, his first, his ex-wife, she didn't like me. It wasn't that she didn't like me. She didn't like us together. And she had a really, really difficult time with the fact that I was doing anything with her son. I remember taking him. We had one of those situations where we had the 3 boys. We were able to we were able to make it so that we would have all the boys on one weekend, and then alternate weekends would just be us by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a perfect relationship, but it worked out perfectly because every other
Right.
weekend he and I could look forward to just having the weekends to ourselves. And
Right.
so we would have the boys on every other weekend. And so we would drive the boys to BART station to meet up with the other parents, to drop them off with the other parents on Friday night before 7 o'clock. That was the time. So it was Halloween, and I knew I had to take the boys to the BART station to meet their parents. Well, for my son, I wanted to take him trick or treating before I dropped him off at his father's house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I couldn't very well leave her son and not take him trick or
Right.
treating. So I took them both trick or treating. And then we were a little bit late getting to the BART station by the time I got them food and everything and got them to the bar. She lit into me like, how dare you take my son Halloween, trick or treating? That's my son. He's not your son. And I explained to her, well, I took him because he was going with my son.
Mm-hmm.
So she just had a really, really hard time with me doing anything with him because she felt like I was taking over her role as a parent. And so it's those kinds of situations. I mean, I was, like John said, I'm a people pleaser. I'm like, I did not intend to
Right.
do anything harmful in that situation. So I go back home to him and I'm just crying and upset. And then he gets on the phone and he starts yelling and screaming at her. And it was just this whole big thing.
Yeah,
It was just this whole big thing. And so it was situations like that when you were dealing with other parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had a situation with my ex where John would cut all the boys' hair before we go to church on Sunday. My ex-husband had the difficulty he was so upset. Don't cut my
don't
son's
cut my son's
hair.
hair, but he couldn't do a good
But
job.
he couldn't do a good job, or he wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do it.
And so it was. But when you are in a blended family and you have other relationships, these things also start to impact your relationship. And it was mostly me trying to be peacekeeper between John and his ex-wives, because it was like, honey, you got to be more patient with them, and so coaching him. So we started coaching each other.
And I had a couple of challenges with
the
with
ex-husband.
hers too. We had one moment we were talking about who was a scrub, who wasn't. Like, man, you a scrub.
That's hilarious. But this is real talk. These are the things that we have to navigate, or that many couples.
Absolutely.
And for those of you that are listening out there, listen, you might be like, oh, that's not my story. But you'd be surprised at how many people around you that is their story.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about building an iron tribe, building, couples that, because as iron sharpens iron, we as couples should sharpen each other.
Yep.
And it helps to know at least a little bit of the stories around you. I know that when we had the marriage conference last year, probably 60% of the individuals that were there in married, committed relationships, it was their second. For at least one of them, it was their second marriage. At least. There are people that had multiple marriages.
No, I was about to say there was more than just one couple. There was quite a few that had been married before, and there were some who had been in long-term relationships where they just they lived together. Excuse me, but they never got married. But when you live with someone for however long, that's like a marriage for a lot of people, especially when you produce children. And like you said, you have to deal with the exes and the other whoever the parents. I mean, I'm like, I've always had a distaste for women who, and even men, who got upset at you showing favor to their child. Because what kind of woman, just from my personal perspective, what kind of woman would you be if you took your son trick-or-treating and you didn't take him and he was with you? What are you supposed to do? You got to come and get him early because I want to take my son trick-or-treating. The fact that you're showing him love, or even, John, you cutting all the boys' hair together. I am treating him like my child. I don't differentiate. I don't make any differences. And that's where true love, I feel like, is. If I can embrace a child and I don't see, people say, I don't see color. I don't see a different last name, or I don't see a different, you in my house, you my kid. And you will be treated as such. And I think that that's where people need to grow up emotionally.
Well, pettiness knows no boundaries.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. Or
And
jealousy.
that's exactly right. It's pettiness, it's insecurity, it's jealousy, it's all those things. And and we know that that is what's
That's what it
happening.
is.
But at the particular time that it's happening, that person feels like that is what's important to them at that time.
Yeah.
Over time, we did get to a point where we could be civil with each other. We could show up at the basketball games and the football games and the birthday parties and all those things. We could show up there. We were never best friends, but we also had established over time a relationship that was civil enough to be in front of the kids without
Cordial.
fighting,
Yes.
and be cordial with each other. And I will tell you this, and I've told other couples, you've told other couples this, when you have a situation when there's another parent involved, things get better when that other person finds someone in their life.
Yeah, exactly.
Until they find someone in their life, they're going to make your life miserable.
Right.
Because they feel like they're missing out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We
That's
we went through those moments too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
We had some other stuff to share, but we wanted to leave room for you guys to ask questions.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We've been hearing some great stuff about the love story, the love origin, and a little bit of the journey that you've actually gone through. And
That's what I love.
but there's also this growth trajectory that the two of you have been on, both together and individually. And I'd love to get into that a little bit and how you manage that, how you still find time to love on each other, even with these separate but interestingly intertwined trajectories. At our conference last year, E.T., for those of you that aren't familiar, Eric Thomas, he had talked specifically about how couples should create together. Doesn't mean that you have to be in the same business or whatever, but actually have a mindset of creation. And when I think of what he said, I think of you two, because you both have this creative mindset in your own veins. So let's talk about that a little bit. Just as far as, first, let's go with Jackie, because you have a recent book that has been published. I know this because I have seen you on social media promoting your book at Barnes and Noble, doing the tour, doing the thing, girl. Talk about how you went from, you don't have to give the whole story, but you were there managing a relationship, and now you're at a point where you are helping leaders manage their, whether it be corporate or private relationships, so they can actually get that empowerment that you were talking about earlier. Talk to us about that.
So thank you for that. And I was really excited to publish the book and get that out there. And it is a representation of my journey to developing my inner self leadership. For all intent and purposes, I struggle with confidence and self-esteem. My husband always tells me I don't understand why, because you have all of these things that you've accomplished, but it is something that I've struggled with, and it's very deep-seated.
Right.
And so when I think about what I have gone through, I think about there's other people that are also experiencing what I may be experiencing, maybe slightly different, maybe the same, but it's out there. And so working on this book project gave me the opportunity to be able to really dig deep into who I wanted to be. Over time, the person that you think that you are starts to evolve, and sometimes you don't recognize that person that you have transitioned into. And then sometimes you have to be purposeful for what that transition looks like for you. And so for me, I had to figure out what it was that I wanted to be. And it came as a result of a corporate setback, if you will, that really affected the way that I saw myself and how I identified with who it was that I wanted to be or needed to be for me personally. And then, as John will tell you, however you show up in that situation is how you show up in the rest of your relationship. And so if I am insecure in my corporate job, I am insecure in my relationships. It's because you don't separate the two people. And so he would get frustrated with me because he said, I cannot understand why you are not confident in yourself. And it's because that comes more naturally for him than it does for me. And so we would oftentimes get into disagreements about that. And it wasn't because he wasn't trying to support me. What he was trying to support me and to get me to see whatever it was I wasn't seeing in myself. But I, on the other hand, was not ready to receive that. And so this book is my journey into looking inside myself and really thinking about what is it that I am, what do I need to be confident about myself? Because I am the only one who can be confident in me. No one else can tell you how confident you are, and you accept that. You have to believe it within yourself.
That's
And
right.
so that's a lot about what the book is. And it goes through all these different elements about confidence, and self-awareness is the biggest component of it. But it was really digging in deep into that's when I discovered self-leadership and really started to think and really started to practice what self-leadership meant for me as an individual, because I needed to rebuild myself after that situation.
That's really interesting. I'm listening to you, and you're talking about it through a corporate vernacular. But I'm hearing this like, oh, this would be a great marriage book too.
Seriously though.
Seriously, it's for individuals, and it could be, it doesn't matter if it's male, female, the husband, or the wife, but something to where they can take this and learn about how to be that much more confident in themselves. Because before we can contribute to a relationship to the other half, we have to be pretty solid on who we are. More times than
Absolutely.
not, because then what we're giving otherwise is something that's either incomplete or broken.
Well, the other part of that too is, like you said, this the corporate setback. We have setbacks in our marriages, and sometimes we don't know how to come to bounce back from that. You know,
Yeah.
speaking,
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, when you learn how to rebuild, figure out what is it that I need to do, and you put it in a way like you said. As far as John, he could not understand, like, girl, why are you whatever? He sees all this greatness in you, but when you have something that's deep seated, you only see what you can see. We all have that little, as far as women, I feel like we all have that little girl in us, and sometimes we have to take care of that little girl, whatever the tragedy was, or the hurt that made you stay 12, made you stay 14. You have to address excuse me, whatever it is within that little girl before you can break out and be like, okay, I see what he sees. I see, and sometimes we see it, little glimpses of it. It's like those shooting lights that, oh, I see it. No, no, I don't. Oh, yeah, I do. To where now it's a constant thing, that the self-discovery, if you will.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, and the book is, you mentioned from a corporate perspective, right? Levy. And it's my
Go,
only
John.
time calling me Levy. All right. So, but I mean, it truly is meant for the individual and anybody. So Jacqueline, when she was first thinking about it, she said, I want to write something for women. But when you read the book, you're like, no, this is something that is truly about you taking control over yourself and you leading yourself. And so many of the things that we talk about is, you have a certain level of your life and things that we want to do, but sometimes you have to go deeper so you can really truly discover who you are so that you can level up. And the principles and the frameworks and the systems that she's provided within the book will help any individual. And I recommend it for anybody to read, because it will give you things to do, to take action on, so that you are thinking through a process of, who am I? Where do I want to go? Oh, what's this going to take? What do I need to overcome so I can actually get there, and how to see myself.
Yeah. And just to follow on with that, just to follow on with that, I did originally write the book from the context of an experience that I had in corporate. But when I talk about the book today, I tell people this book is about you. Unapologetically, it is about you. You are the center of everything that happens. So when I do my workshops, I go into those workshops. So we're going to do visioning. We're not talking about a vision of what your life is, your career is, or what your relationships are. We're talking about the vision that you have for yourself personally. Who are you? Who do you want to be? And how do you go about becoming that person? And it's very centered on you. And so I've evolved it to make sure that everyone understands that nothing happens unless you are grounded in who you are and what it is that you want out of life.
So I'm sorry,
That's right.
just real quick. So I want everyone to just kind of catch this. So you guys have been married for almost 29 years. It'll be 29 years next year. You were living your life, doing your thing. I bring that up because it's important to know, because there are some people who are in their 50s or 40s, maybe even in their 30s, and they may feel like I missed the window. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone peaks in their 20s or in their 30s or even in their 40s. With you writing this book, as an adult woman, I'll say it like that, a mature woman, you're letting people know that it doesn't matter where you start, you know. Age is nothing but a number. So don't use the excuse of, and I'm actually talking to my own self, don't use the excuse of, well, I've lived this much life already. So to make changes now, or to try to, I should already know what I want to do when I grow up. I say that every day. I'm like, what do I want to do when I grow up? Because I'm not grown up yet, But I think that people need to catch that. You don't have to have it figured out in your 20s, and you never miss the window. You only miss the window when you close it.
That's right.
So where can people actually, somebody out there's like, okay, so where do I get it? How do I get it? I need that book.
So the book is available Amazon.com. It's called Be the CEO of You, Lead You with Vision, Purpose, and Impact. It's available on Amazon.com. It's also available on BarnesandNoble.com.
I love it. I love
Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
So let's pivot a little bit. I mean, that's one half of this power couple. Now let's talk about Brown development. So, Mr. John Brown.
Yes, sir.
You two are creating on your side of the bed as well, right? So talk to us about Brown development. If I heard a rumor, Little Bird told me that recently you had made a major transition. What could that possibly be?
Well, so we've always had a plan to retire from corporate America and just do our own thing. So fortunately, we were blessed to put ourselves back in a situation where we could do that with the help of our advisors as well as our own personal planning. And so we were able to semi-retire Jacqueline in February. And then I am now in my beginning of the second week of my own retirement from corporate America.
Okay.
So that's the birdie probably that you're talking about. Thank you.
Congratulations. So what does that mean? You're on the golf course every day and drinking margaritas, doing nothing. I
I'm
mean,
putting green in my backyard. I putt every day almost, but I don't play golf. I have so much energy still, and we have so much to give back, knowledge wise, and just through experiences like be the CEO of you, and then other things that I've written. A couple of different books over the last 4 years on sales and different companies we've started or different experiences we've been through. So we create systems and frameworks. So Brown Developments is a business strategy and consulting company. We focus on, from Jacqueline's perspective, Dive, which is a great spin off of DEI, and it really is more focused on inclusion and the things that she's doing through Be the CEO of You and her workshops and consulting. And then on my side, I leverage my background working with multi-billion-dollar companies, working in the tech space for all these years, working in sales, working in account management, working in business strategy. And I've created different systems and different frameworks, and I am going to market with them right now. One of them that is really prevalent is called the Total Success System. And the Total Success System really is geared toward our own personal life experience once again. And it's helping individuals first and foremost. And that's the key of anything, right? I mean, if you don't start with yourself, you can't run a team, you can't run a company, let alone a major or, global company. And so there's within the Total Success System, we talk about your life first and foremost. Like, do you have a life plan? And that could be your career, that's your spiritual life, that's what you do for health and fitness, that's what you do, as far as what you give back and your family. Have you documented all these things you want to accomplish? And do you have advisors to guide you through this process? Or are you just trying to do it all on your own? Or do you have all these advisors and none of them collaborate to ensure you have success? And then we have another section called the wealth plan. And that part talks about what are you going to do to build something, protect it, and pass it along. And in this country, you're going to typically make money either investing in real estate like we had done over the years, being an entrepreneur, or working through whatever investment vehicles. And so if you've got that, most likely you have advisors. But too many times we're doing it all alone, and you don't have these advisors all working together and collaborating with you in the center. And so about a year ago, we found ourselves in a situation where we had a trust and everything, but we hadn't moved things over properly. Matter of fact, the trust wasn't set up properly. Our financial advisor gave us a referral to an estate attorney. We worked with the estate attorney, and she worked, once we got that all squared away, with the financial advisor and got everything moved over properly. And we didn't have to stress out about it. Our lender who works with us, he's very strategic and helped us do a lot of different real estate deals. And he had reached out to us at that same time, and we were talking through some other things and moves we made. And it clicked for us. We're like, wait a minute, we've got all these advisors that we work with. We have our plans, but they don't know collectively who they are. They don't know that we're doing all these things. And so we created a system where we could document all of these things, and they could actually, now everybody collaborates, and we share that out with them so that it just ensures even more that it mitigates our risk and takes us up to another level. And so we focus on those areas. And then those same advisors, when it comes to the realtor, lender, CPA, financial advisor, estate planner, etc. Now I created through consulting different ways for them to use that in their businesses with their clients to create stickiness, to create retention. And then I give them also different business frameworks so that they have more structure, so they collaborate better, so they can deliver better results. So those are the two primary areas I'm focused in and going to market with. And it's just a matter of things that we've done over the years and the many companies that Jacqueline's allowed me to start, and the ones that didn't work, and so the ones that have worked.
Oh, I've had a few that have started. I've had a few.
We had some story,
that have failed as well.
But we've Brown Developments is here since 1999, and we continue to do different things through that company, and it has put us in such a great position, along with our continued Drive. ChatGPT told me Drive does not retire. I always give it credit for that. But just that and our connection with the universal power, we will always make sure that we give credit to, to our God, because without that, the big visionary stuff doesn't get executed.
That's right.
And the big visionary stuff that says, how do you go from being a UPS driver in 1998 to within 4 years, you are a VP of sales for a company, and then we're multimillionaires. And Jacqueline's gone from what she was doing to like we were doing all these things, and then you crash, and then you go back and you build it way better than you ever built it before. To a point where now you can be 57 and a little bit older, and you could say, we're done. Now we get to create our own passionate things because we have bigger levels we still want to achieve, but we're comfortable where we are. But there's so many other people that we can help get to this level. So, I mean, that is creating a legacy. I talk about acronyms, LIVE, L-I-V. When you are no longer here, did you create a legacy? Who did you impact? And did you deliver value? And if you can have legacy, impact, and value, people will talk about you forever because you've impacted their lives so greatly that your life is worth talking about.
That's dope. Love it. I love it. If I could say if there's anything that I just didn't appreciate you put me on blast the way you did about how I don't have my advisors talking to each other. But outside of that, no, I think this is so poignant. This is a blueprint for. We relate everything back to marriage, about building a covenant, building a legacy relationship, and everything that you just talked about should be standard for every couple to sit down and put these teams together. So that way we can actually ensure that, we can get to the goals, the visions that we have for each other, for ourselves, for our relationship that much sooner, and make sure that it's that much more solid. This is beautiful. I see somebody talking on.
We appreciate you saying that, Ernie. And one of the things that we're working on right now is we're working with, as you know, one of our King's Accountability Group brothers, Terrence, is bringing this to an online mobile application and desktop application so people don't miss it. And it'll be the Total Success System online, where you, everybody, the people will be in a position where you say, it's like, have you hit your goals? No. Why not? You've got a simple tool you can use, and you can invite your people in, and you can make sure that your generations, starting with you, are taken care of because they have a simple format and framework they can use right now. And so that's our goal, is just to bring something simple. I use a term called SEX. Yes, I said it. Simplicity equals execution. That's what it means.
Forever the acronyms.
I was sitting there trying to, how can I bring the SEX acronym into this conversation?
So you have heard about that one.
I have. We revisit it often with the King's Accountability Group. But right. What's funny is what I see. We talk about vision. I've got a vision. First weekend in February 2027.
Yeah. Shut your mouth, because while he was talking, I was like, oh, they don't know. I'm going to let them know. They're going to be speaking in February 2027. So.
Okay.
February 2027.
First weekend, beginning of marriage week. It's probably going to be, I don't have the calendar in front of me, but I anticipate it's going to be something like February 4th and 5th, whatever that is, the beginning, right before marriage week. Probably 6 and 7, something like that.
7 and 8, something like that.
The Total Success
System.
Oh my gosh, that we would be honored to do that. And I will say also, and you probably experience this a lot as you are coaching couples, but it still is amazing how many couples don't have honest conversation about financials.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the foundation of really having a solid relationship. If you can't communicate financials, you'll never be able to communicate anything else, because that is it's the most challenging thing that couples have to go through, and it doesn't have to be if each person is open to it. I believe, just as John was saying, that we call it TSS. TSS is a great way for couples to sit down and talk about their financials. Do we have a financial planner? It's never too soon to start planning for retirement, planning for the fact that um, you need different types of insurances as you get older and all those kinds of things. What does that look like? If you want to go out and be an entrepreneur someday, how do you set yourself up financially in order to be able to do that?
Yep.
And so this tool can be that tool that can help couples have those types of conversations. And you can have people like us or other people like yourselves that do this all the time, have them sit down and just start to have these open conversations. And it doesn't have to be that difficult.
And to layer in on that, the other thing that's equally as important, and people don't talk about it because it's uncomfortable, is death.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have a will and trust?
Right.
Do you have, a health directive?
Right.
Yep.
Something that takes the burden off your
Yep.
family member or your loved one
That's right.
if something doesn't go well for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have to make a choice that you've never told them to make.
Yep.
Nobody wants to be put in that situation, let alone nobody wants to be stuck and understand that, you left them something that they weren't prepared to pay taxes on.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden they weren't prepared and they go bankrupt because you gave some inheritance to them and they couldn't afford. Those things are so important, and those are game changers.
Yep.
And most people realize that, something goes wrong in people's families when people pass away and people lose their minds for whatever reason, and everybody shows up and they want something. And you're like,
That's
wait a
right.
minute, take that burden off of your loved ones because they're already mourning you from you not
Yep.
being there, and make sure they have a plan so that they don't have to go through the pain of losing you as well as the frustration of dealing with all family members.
Exactly.
That's something that we all have an opportunity to do to make life easier. That's one of the things that you can do that's positive in this
Yep.
world.
That's real
Yeah.
talk.
That's
I'm
real
gonna-
talk. Yep.
I'm going to step into something it's sensitive for both of us, because we've had it happen to us, and that is the death of a child. You don't have insurance on your children, guess what? And something happens to them, then you have to pay for that, in addition to all the other emotions that you
things.
have.
Yep.
And you talk about going through different periods of times in your marriages, right? The loss of a child is can be detrimental to your relationship if you don't have a strong foundation. And we've seen other couples that weren't able to
Didn't make it.
recover from that type of thing.
Didn't
So it's really, really important to have those foundations. And so we've talked to people about having insurance on your kids. And you can have it for a certain period of time, and then after that, it's more difficult to do that. In lieu of having insurance on them, then have a savings or some money that you can tap into in the event that happens to you. But that's setting up your financial portfolio so that you'll be able to handle any of those uncertainties that might come your way. And a lot of people are just not thinking. They're just not thinking like that, and they're not prepared for those kinds of things that happen. But we know what that feels like, and
Absolutely.
not to be prepared for it.
There's so many things that can happen in life, and anytime there's just an individual that's in your family, you should have a plan for that individual, a plan for that individual. And that doesn't mean that you have to be rich. It just means you have to have a plan in place.
Yeah.
So talk through stuff that might be uncomfortable, because nobody gets a chance to live forever.
Nope.
And you never want to start out the year like we started out this year with a friend of mine, unfortunately, and she lost her 16-year-old son. That's the way we started out in the first week of January. And, that's life-changing in itself, let alone you think like, you aging parents and all these things that pop up. And so, for just kind of like, people got to be ready to pay those things in case you put your parent in a healthcare facility or something like that. That'll cost you $5,000 to $7,000, $10,000 a month. Those are just simple things you think about. What do I need to do when you're in your 30s so that you start getting to that point? By the time you're 35 to 55 are high income earning years, do what you can in there. But we all touched on this earlier, is that if you're not there, there's still time to do something. As long as you have breath, do something, that you can set yourself up for how many years that you're going to be living here, but don't sit back and be ashamed of something. It's just draw a line wherever you are and figure out how to move forward. Go get those success partners, those people who know more than you do, to eliminate your blind spots so that you can advance.
Absolutely. So where can people learn more about the Total Success System? You
can go to Brown, like the color, developments with an S.com.
You heard it here. Look, if you're looking to move forward in just life, your marriage, your relationship, getting to know yourself, becoming the CEO of you, and then developing a total success system that can create legacy for your bloodline and for those that you care about, that you love. Look, you've got it right here in this power couple, man. We don't need to talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z. Forget about them. You need to be talking about John and Jaqueline.
Oh my God, we've been compared to Jay-Z and Beyonce. We must be escalating.
Hey,
you guys surpassed them.
Now we're Jay-Z and Beyonce.
There we go.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. No, we compared them to you.
Oh, okay.
Hey, there you go.
Right?
We appreciate it.
Well, look, we appreciate your time. Thank you for hanging out with us. I know and thanks for bearing with us. I know we went a little long, but I think it's valuable information, and it's nice to get exposure to couples that are either much like yourselves or those individuals that you aspire to be like. Look, we said at the very beginning of this particular episode that everybody's relationship has its own unique DNA, right? And it's one of those things where I'm not saying you have to be like us or be like them. But what you can do is take a few notes, like, you know what, I can take a little bit from here. I can take a little bit from there. And I can see us growing in this particular aspect of our relationship. There's a quote that said that every person I meet is my master in some way, and of that I learn. And we hope that today you've learned something through, this conversation that can take your relationship from wherever you are to that next level, wherever you want to be.
They learned that the Browns are going to be speaking at our conference in 2027.
Absolutely. We said it. We put it out there in the universe.
We already said it. And once we
that's
say
a whole year away.
We got time to plan.
Oh, we got 2027. We got time to play. Okay.
Yep. So just so you know, don't start skirting the calls. Don't start ducking out. We know how to find y'all. So.
Yep. In my best Star Trek voice, so let it be done.
Let it be done. Okay.
Where we are.
Like we always close out from our from the podcast itself. Until the next time,
be blessed.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.